Hey,
Yay!
so we're gonna go on live with Daniel Caesar now.
Oh my God, tell him I say hi.
I know you guys are friends, so we're
I
really
love him.
appreciative, obviously, of you and our friendship. We think you're awesome, and we're so grateful to know you.
A moody dive bar snap, Kendall leaning in, Justin with that glazed, weathered smile, and Hailey dropping a perfectly timed public barb that sent the internet into orbit. In one threaded Instagram comment, she wrote, "It's always Kendall telling a story with her hands," and the world went feral. This is not just a petty triangle. It's a small optical war that exposes how fragile celebrity marriages are when friendship optics and old histories collide in public. In this video, I'm unpacking the photo, the comment, the replies, the rumors that spun out of that single frame, and what the whole exchange says about public marriage theater in 2025. Let's start with the photo that ignited the whole thing. According to reports, Justin posted candid shots from a low-key night at a dive bar that included a frame of him and Kendall mid-conversation, with Kendall leaning in close and appearing animated in mid-story. The image circulated fast on social platforms and quickly accumulated the sort of speculative commentary that social media specializes in. Seconds after the post went live, Hailey dropped that cheeky comment, "It's always Kendall telling a story with her hands," and people lost it. Kendall's playful response, "God forbid I'm a visual storyteller," landed like a practice parry, and a viral back and forth was born. That's the provable timeline. Photo, Hailey's public jab, Kendall's playful clapback, clips, memes, and hours of commentary. Now, before the rumor mill runs blind, let's be absolutely clear. The user-provided seed mentions inappropriate text and leaked audio insinuations involving Justin and Kendall. Those specific private messages or explicit audio clips have not been published or verified by mainstream reputable outlets as of reporting on the photo exchange. Where these items appear, they do so in fan threads and gossip pages. Treat private text allegations as rumors unless a credible outlet publishes them. Context is everything. Justin and Kendall have a public history that predates his marriage. Over the years, fans have compiled old images, interviews, and moments where the two were close, which fuels speculation when they're photographed together now. That history is not evidence of wrongdoing, but it's the reason a casual social photo reads as suspicious to many viewers. Hailey's public comment functioned like a tiny, well-timed reassertion of presence. There's a media grammar to those moves. A spouse who leaves a joking comment under a partner's post is both reminding viewers of their role and signaling that they're paying attention to optics. Some read Hailey's line as confident, others as prickly. Both reactions are useful for narrative makers. Both have truth in them. The public reaction was immediate and raw. Fans on X/Twitter and TikTok devolved into two camps. One side defending Hailey as the supportive spouse with timing and wit, the other side quickly spinning conspiracy theories about a long simmering triad centered on Kendall and Justin. Reddit threads speculated wildly, from plausible relationship patterns to outlandish throuple theories that are, let's be honest, the stuff of late-night forum fantasy. Let's talk about pattern recognition. Human brains love it. Justin has had moments of awkward public oversharing in recent months, including a widely discussed Instagram caption about Hailey's Vogue cover that some readers found ill-timed and clumsy. These small missteps create a readiness in the audience to read ambiguous images as symptoms rather than anomalies. Some outlets also recalled a moment earlier in the summer when Hailey edited a caption from "lemon martinis and therapy all summer long" to simply "lemon martinis all summer long," which fans flagged and outlets covered as curious timing. That edit was interpreted by some as an attempt to tamp down conversation about mental health associations or to avoid feeding a narrative. Either way, it increased the sense that Hailey is hyper aware of how these moments get read. Others pointed to Justin's well-covered personal struggles this year, public rants, and shifted allegiances that have made observers nervous. Reports about his friction with former collaborators and occasional cryptic posts have created a backdrop of unease that amplifies the optics problem when he's photographed close to another high-profile woman. But let us not mistake suspicion for evidence. The claim that explicit private text exists between Justin and Kendall, the user seed's most salacious allegation, remains unsubstantiated by reputable journalism. Where you see screenshots or transcripts, they are being circulated in factional corners of the internet and are not confirmed. The mainstream reporting sticks to visible, verifiable moments, posts, comments, and public replies. Now examine the mechanics of the exchange. Hailey leaves a joke, Kendall reframes it as playful, the internet supplies the rest. It's an optical economy where any look or gesture is a commodity. Kendall's defense frames her gestures as storytelling and disarms the moment, which is a savvy PR move. Pivot from potential scandal to an in-joke that shows camaraderie rather than threat. We also need to discuss the gendered optics at work. Husbands photographed with female friends rarely trigger the same intensity of public scrutiny unless there's an existing rumor bank. Wives who comment under posts are often read as awkward or jealous. This asymmetry is not fair, but it's consistent. Cultural expectations mean Hailey's comment gets parsed as an emotional act, even when it's intended as a light joke. Let's trace the fans' evidence trail, if you want to call it that. When the photo went viral, people dug through old content, throwback clips, past red carpet proximity, and any recorded moment that could be read as flirtatious. That's how images become evidence in the court of public opinion. The problem is that selective curation can create a misleading case. One or two clips stitched together can manufacture a narrative that may not reflect reality. Still, the accumulation creates a reputational cost. For Hailey, the repeated need to interject in public narratives risks making her appear defensive. For Kendall, being the animated close friend invites interpretation. For Justin, long-standing public candor about personal struggles means his actions get additional scrutiny. Together, the trio's dynamic exists in a pressure cooker where small gestures are amplified into identity claims. Let's get specific about the textual evidence of the drama that is actually documented. Reports cite the exact exchange: Justin's dive bar photo, Hailey's comment, Kendall's reply. That thread is provable and verifiable. The rest, alleged text, audio clips, or leaked DMs, remain in rumor space unless a reliable outlet publishes them. Why does the public reflexively infer secrecy or impropriety? Part of it is narrative hunger. Celebrity stories require arcs, antagonists, and turning points. Kendall and Justin's prior closeness supplies an antagonist of sorts. Not necessarily a villain, but a human alternate to the storyline of marriage. The internet then fills in motive, often with the most dramatic explanation available. Next, consider Justin's pattern of public commentary. Earlier in the year, he posted a reflective, somewhat awkward caption about Hailey's Vogue cover, recounting an old fight and admitting he had once said she'd never be on the cover. A self-aware attempt at apology that many found ill-judged. Those kinds of posts add texture to how the public interprets subsequent episodes. They're evidence of instability in messaging, if not in behavior. It's worth noting how Kendall navigates these optics. Her public persona thrives on being animated and expressive. She gestures, tells stories, and commands attention. That's professional training too. As a model and public figure, she knows how to perform in rooms. So when fans see her leaning in, they see both a personal gesture and a practiced display of charisma. Then there's the role of social media labor. Once a line like Hailey's goes viral, creators remix the moment into reaction pieces, caption flips, and listicles. That unpaid amplification is the engine of rumor. Creators create additional frames that then feed back into mainstream outlets, perpetuating the cycle. The family's PR machine knows this and likely factors it into how they stage public outings. What are the likely short-term outcomes? Expect more curated photographs with Hailey visibly present, more family selfies that explicitly show unity, and potentially a small friend zone PR push where Kendall is shown in group contexts that emphasize platonic norms. Networks that host these images, Instagram, TikTok, will allow the family to perform reconciliation quickly. What are medium-term risks? If the pattern continues with more candid photos that show Kendall close to Justin, followed by Hailey corrections, narrative wear accumulates. Brands might start asking for cleaner optics if ambiguity threatens a sponsored campaign. The calculus is simple. Controversy is tolerable until it affects conversions. As of the reporting that covered this exchange, there were no public reports of brand fallout, but PR teams watched these arcs closely. Now the hot interpretive take. This pattern, small public gestures that require spousal reassurance followed by playful repartee, is operating as a kind of PR choreography. Whether intentional or organic, the trio's public moves produce constant narrative renewals, and the family dynamic becomes content. So the provocative thesis is this: the spectacle of intimacy functions as both brand and protection, and micro conflicts like the dive bar comment are the unit of currency. For Hailey specifically, the calculus is thorny. Each micro intervention, a comment, a caption edit, a playful clapback, helps her occupy narrative space. But if the public repeatedly interprets these moves as signs of insecurity or performative jealousy, the cost is reputational wear. Being framed as the spouse who must fix the optics is not flattering, and that image can calcify if repeated often enough. For Kendall, the calculus is also straightforward. Being animated, present, and vivid is professionally useful. But in proximity to married men, especially those with complicated histories, those traits are ripe for misreading. Kendall's reputation for warmth can be contorted into flirtation by audiences hungry for scandal. And for Justin, the pattern of public oversharing and occasional clumsy self-referencing creates a low level of institutional suspicion. Remember that Vogue caption kerfuffle? Fans notice the pattern and then turn the photos into proof of that pattern, and the photos, regardless of intent, start to look like receipts. Let's widen the lens and compare this drama to similar celebrity triangles so you can see the pattern. Other public couples in prior eras faced the same engine: an image, a defensive move, a PR pivot, and then the cycle that bleeds headlines. The arc repeats because the attention economy rewards quick emotional beats and punishes nuance. Online creators have machine-graded responses ready for these moments. Within minutes of Hailey's line appearing, TikTok stitches and Instagram reels emerge showing slowed clips of Kendall's hands, side-by-side throwbacks, and reaction faces. The modern equivalent of a press release, except the press release is user-generated and weaponized toward virality. The creator's incentive is simple: attention equals revenue. When they add a conspiracy hook, engagement spikes. Brands, for their part, notice the tenor of public chatter. While a single viral photo rarely triggers a mass sponsor exodus, repeated patterns can soften a brand's tolerance threshold. Luxury labels and beauty partners watch sentiment analyses closely. If a controversy threads into questions of trust or off-brand association, negotiators quietly reevaluate ad windows and influencer placements. The Kardashians and Biebers are both powerful commercial engines, but they are not immune to brand calculus. Let's dig into the audience drive and the gossip. Fan communities are not monolithic. Some fans defend Hailey because they view her as a stabilizing presence, while others suspect the performative dimension to her public moves. Fans on Reddit compiled a list of suspicious moments, selectively curated photos, edits, and captions, and those threads consolidate disparate incidents into an apparently coherent timeline. That's how digital sleuthing shapes perception. A few innocuous frames, when aggregated, start to look like a case. Now for an unflinching critique. Hailey's public comment culture is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it communicates confidence. On the other, it normalizes reflexive public management of intimate images, a posture where spouses publicly police each other's company in comment threads. That dynamic is corrosive to private trust. Imagine having to supervise your marriage in a comment box. The labor is endless. That's the reality for many celebrity couples who choose to live a version of their lives on camera. Equally, Kendall's defense strategy, owning the visual storyteller line, is a savvy move that preserves her agency. In public spheres, owning the narrative is often the only defense. If you reframe a potentially awkward moment as artful storytelling, the audience is more likely to accept that reading. Kendall's reply is a prepackaged disarm that flips discomfort into a quirk people can like. What about media behavior in this circus? Outlets that prioritize rapid engagement often produce breathless takes. Those that add context help dampen panic. The stories from People and Billboard, for example, treated the exchange as playful and situated it in context. Tabloids seized the chance to sensationalize. The resulting noise is the market. Consumers decide which theory wins. Let's consider the long game for Hailey's public image. Her brand, beauty founder, public wife, and new mother depends on appearing steady. Moments like the caption edit and the public comment signal that she understands optics and cares about narrative framing. But the repeated need to correct or comment risks recentering her identity around reaction rather than initiative. A brand that is always responding to optics loses some authority to set its own agenda. Kendall faces a different long-term risk. Her professional identity is based on charisma and presence. If the public consistently frames her warmth as flirtatious proximity to married men, that misreading can generate reputational friction that complicates brand deals and appearances. It's an absurd pressure on a woman whose career depends on social facility. Justin's reputation is perhaps the most fragile of the three because his recent public behavior has been unpredictable at times. His candidness can be a virtue, but when it produces awkward revelations, the narrative curve bends toward concern. His cryptic posts, public rants, and odd caption choices all feed a substrate of worry that primes audiences to assume the worst. Now let's be tactical. What could break this loop? One option is a clear, coordinated public moment of unity. Joint appearances, family-first posts, and visible affection that recalibrate optics. Another is fewer candid late-night images and more curated, intentional photographs. Both strategies work, but they require a willingness to trade in-the-moment authenticity for narrative control, which often clashes with the content model that built much of this fame. If the family chooses damage control, expect small pivots. Staged group photos, a subtle caption that frames the night as friends catching up, and Hailey appearing in more overtly affectionate content with Justin. If they choose to monetize the friction, they'll let the bites roll. More confessionals, more edits, and a self-reinforcing feedback loop that drives engagement. Both options have precedent. A more cynical reading is that the exchange serves a performance logic. Create a moment with emotional punch, let it circulate, and reap attention dividends without long-term fallout. It's plausible because microdrama fuels promo cycles and subscription chatter. A little friction often equals a lot of eyeballs. That's reality TV math. Let's close by returning to the user-provided seed. It includes allegations of inappropriate text and suggestive audio. Again, mainstream outlets have not verified private messages. Where the claim appears, it's in fan threads and tabloids. The right way to read those allegations is as rumors until verified. The provable, newsworthy elements in this story are the public photo, Hailey's comment, and Kendall's reply. Everything else is amplification or speculation. This is a modern celebrity case study. Proximity becomes proof, private context collapses into viral fragments, and personal life functions as content. If you're watching as a fan, remember these narratives are built from tiny public moves with massive consequences. The trio's exchange is a live lesson in the costs of living publicly and the market that rewards the drama. And let's not underestimate late night and podcast fuel. These moments get magnified into new narratives overnight. A single joke morphs into a recurring bit on host monologues, with comedians riffing on who's telling a story with their hands as if that explains centuries of human intimacy. Those riffs then become fodder for clips and headlines that pull the exchange further from the original context, and suddenly everyone's opinionated without actually knowing more than the photo and a couple of comments. The cycle turns private awkwardness into public muscle memory. Then there's the meme economy doing the heavy lifting. Creators splice the clip into reaction edits, rotate slow-mo of Kendall's hands, and drop Hailey's line on a loop with dramatic soundtracks. Those remixes are the currency of cultural memory now. They harden a passing moment into an iconic joke and make it nearly impossible for the participants to reclaim nuance. When your gestures become GIFs, your intentions are lost beneath the punchline. So where do you land? Is Hailey being smart and assertive, or is this the sign she's constantly repairing optics for a husband who keeps handing the public reasons to talk? Is Kendall just being herself, or does her proximity function as performative flirtation? Drop your hot takes below, hit subscribe and like, and tell me, are you Team Hailey, Team Kendall, or Team Unbothered?